This is a video I didn't want to make. I made an entire intro and everything for the beginning of court, and I was really hoping that we were there, that we were at the point of no return, where Tyra was going to have to walk into court, and it would be like anywhere from 3 to 6 sessions, and then he'd get his sentence. Possibly 2 more months, I was thinking. Unfortunately, it seems his lawyer has quit. Two things from the title: why Tyra's lawyer quit and why it works in his favor. First, why he quit. Well, from the beginning, we all knew that Tyra chose a personal injury lawyer to represent him in a felony case, a felony criminal case. Not the best idea. We pegged this guy from the beginning to be an ambulance chaser. Tyra didn't contact him. He contacted Tyra. He was chasing after people. That already marks you as sleazy, especially when it comes to attorneys. So that was red flag number one. Red flag number two, Greg went and checked the guy's background, and he had just recently received disciplinary action for basically not doing his job correctly. That was the second red flag. Now that all goes into why Tyra's lawyer quit. Looking at his background, you can see that this guy is not the best attorney out there. This guy is just looking to make a quick buck. He had lost a bunch of money in his previous disciplinary action, and he was looking to make it up. He was looking for some quick cases that he can turn around and make a few quick bucks off of. Tyra was the perfect candidate. What Cody wanted to do from the start was negotiate a plea deal, have Tyra sign it. It would be maybe a month of work, maybe less, and he's on to the next guy. Make a quick $2,000 to $5,000 really quick. Not sure how much his retainer fee was, but the retainer fee was probably between $500 and $1,000. And then he has to pay him on a monthly fee besides that for all the time that he takes up. But we're not discussing his billable hours because we don't really know them. Getting more to the point, he was an ambulance chaser who was looking for a quick buck, who had had disciplinary action in the past. Now, why would he quit? Very simply put, Tyra wasn't paying him. The reason he gave the judge was they were unable to communicate with each other. Now, that is basically lawyer speak for the guy didn't pay me. Have a listen to this right here. I'm going to play an audio. It's about 5 minutes long. Have a listen to it. I'm going to highlight some key words that the guy says, and then we'll come back for why it works in Tyra's favor. Here goes the clip.
Today I'm going to answer a question submitted by an attorney on the situation where you are stuck between the proverbial rock and a hard place. And that is a case where your client hasn't paid you for representation or has not honored their contract with you in order to provide representation, and you're in a jurisdiction where the court will not allow you to withdraw. Now, by way of background information, it's important to note a couple of things. First, the contract that you enter into with an attorney is a binding contract and should set forth the terms of representation, both the hourly rate, when payments are due, what things are reasonable costs. Are copies included? Some lawyers charge for copies, some lawyers don't. Are you going to be responsible for the deposition costs of the case, which is fairly typical? That is, if your lawyer has to hire a court reporter and pay the court reporter to take a transcript of a statement that they take, are you going to be responsible for that? All of those items should be discussed at the beginning of representation and clearly written out in the fee agreement so that both sides understand what the terms are. It helps as you go down through the road of the case, everybody's on the same page. So what do? For example, for a client with a client who can't pay, but they want to pay, that for some unforeseen reason is no longer able to satisfy their contractual duty. Can the lawyer withdraw from the case? Well, the answer used to be yes. Now, not so much. And the problem is with a lot of state agencies and the down economy, the state doesn't have enough money overall, and especially they are very overtaxed in terms of the resources that are just not available for the public defender's office as they used to be. So their caseload is up, and the number of cases that they have to handle, increasing their budget, has decreased. So if you start adding more cases where individuals are not able to pay their lawyers, and now lawyers are seeking to withdraw from cases and then be assigned public defenders, it just makes the problem worse. So there's a real policy conflict that's in play here. So a lot of courts throughout Missouri are not allowing privately retained lawyers to withdraw from the case. It's not my job to say whether that's right or wrong, but there are a couple of factors that should be considered. First, let's look at it from the client's perspective. Because all of us as lawyers, that's our first duty, always first and foremost, is to do our best for a client and follow the rules of professional conduct and obviously provide zealous advocacy and representation for the client. And the best place to look for anybody, if you're looking at answering this question, is to look at the rules of professional conduct. So let's start with Rule 4.1.5. That's all of the Missouri Supreme Court rules for professional conduct are under Rule 4, and in particular Rule 1.5 deals with fees. Now, a lawyer's fees are to be, like I said, to be communicated in writing preferably and within a reasonable time frame of commencing representation. So first things first, always have a written fee agreement so everybody understands what the scope of the employment is. That is, what is the lawyer going to do for you? How much are they going to charge you? And it should also set forth very simple things. If the lawyer bills you for their time, and that's what we lawyers do. It's hard to understand that sometimes. We have to spend time on cases. We have to bill for our time. It's what we do. There's a value to it, the processes that we go through on our client's behalf, but certainly that is our stock and trade. It's not like we can produce a product or make a box and then go, here you go, and here's the cost. So our time is what we bill for. And each month you should get a bill from your attorney, and then there should be a clear delineation as to when you are supposed to pay that, both in the contract and maybe a reminder on the invoice or statement. So let's say that you're not able to pay and it's been a couple of months. You've communicated with your lawyer, I can't pay the bill. The lawyer, as per the contract, is entitled to withdraw. It's set forth perhaps right in the contract. Well, under the rules of professional conduct 1.16, a lawyer may withdraw from representation in some circumstances, including those where the client has breached their financial obligations, specifically in under what's called optional withdrawal. That means the attorney can withdraw or may withdraw from representation. They can do so as long as it will not materially harm the client. That is, you don't want a lawyer withdrawing in the middle of a trial, the morning of trial, or when trial is so close that it's going to prejudice the client. Can you imagine if you were getting ready to go into surgery and all of a sudden the doctor said, nah, going to change my mind here. I don't want to do it. You need the surgery. Well, same circumstances apply here. So if withdrawal is going to be accomplished, it needs to be done in a manner that's not going to harm the client. So what do you do if it's early on in the representation? There's no question. It's maybe a month into the case, and the case may take 12 months to 24 months. So, and the client would not be harmed whatsoever by having a new attorney on the case. How does the lawyer withdraw? Well, they ask the court for permission, or what we call ask for leave of court to withdraw from the case. Let's say that the judge says no. So then the client has a lawyer who doesn't want to be on the case because they're not getting paid, and they're entitled to be paid for their time. And the client is naturally wondering, well, what kind of job is this lawyer going to do for me? Well, that makes sense, common sense. Keep in mind the lawyer does have an ethical duty to do their best. What if you get in a situation where you have a client who won't pay, and an attorney who's doing their best, and the client, the relationship breaks down so much that makes it difficult, if not impossible, to continue representation? Well, that's a different situation. Obviously, if you cast the financial difficulties aside, the rules of professional conduct allow for, and in fact really demand, that a lawyer be allowed to withdraw if the relationship between the attorney and client is so broken down that basic communication can't be effective.
It's funny as shit. I laugh at it, man. I laugh at it. I was out there for like, what the fuck? So you gonna give me my money? Oh man, motherfucker said for communication problems. But I got text messages, emails, everything, and phone records, everything proving the communication problems. Man, I just got to print out. I'll download this shit from my phone, print all this shit out,
So basically, a lawyer will represent you pretty much through anything. They don't care if you shot someone in the street. They don't care if you appear on TV and threaten to shoot 100 more people. They would advise you not to because it's going to hurt your case, but they can't really stop you. The only thing, as I said on Greg's panel a little earlier, that they can't do is make you pay. And that they call communication problems. It's basically code word for the guy is not paying me and I need to get up out of here. So that's why I believe Tyra's lawyer quit on him. Yeah, he was getting phone calls from lots of different people. Yeah, he wasn't happy that Tyra was showing stuff about the case online and still doing everything he was doing. But again, he can't really stop him from doing that. It hurts his case. He can advise him not to do it. And if Tyra wants to lose his case, that's his business. Cody will just collect the money and call it a day. The real deal was that Tyra was behind on his payments. Bottom line, always comes back to money. Anyway, that's why I believe he quit the case. Now on to the last part of this video, and that is why this works in Tyra's favor. Well, today was supposed to be pre-trial. Pre-trial could not happen because the moment they went in there, the first order of business was Tyra's lawyer withdrawing from the case. If Tyra's lawyer withdraws, there can be no pre-trial. If there is no pre-trial, any additional information the prosecutor wants to put in during pre-trial cannot be put in because Tyra has no lawyer to object or review or add anything to what the prosecutor is doing. Basically, without Tyra having a lawyer there, the prosecutor would be able to do anything he wanted, and Tyra would not be able to defend himself. Therefore, you're not allowed to do anything until he gets a new lawyer. When will he get a new lawyer? That remains to be seen. The court will call Tyra back May 17th to see if he has a new lawyer. And if he doesn't, they're going to help him find one. They more than likely will not give him a public defender because he's already proven that he can pay. Although there is a slight loophole there, he did hire a lawyer initially, proving that he can pay. But if they're having communication problems and he's not paying, there's a very good chance he could be reevaluated, and all he would have to do is take the indigent status and basically admit to the court that he is unable to pay, and they'll give him a public attorney. Will he do that? Remains to be seen. So just because he has a lawyer come May 17th doesn't mean that the case will continue May 17th. Let's assume he has a lawyer May 17th. They're going to give the lawyer time to review the case, get up to speed, and just feel comfortable. Not like he has to come in and be like behind and not knowing what's going on, not knowing anything about the case. He gets time to review the case. That amount of time can be anywhere from 1 to 6 months. Not much has happened, so it probably won't go the full 6-month range, but he can take it if he wants to. Let's say he jumps in, he looks at all the notes and the paperwork and everything, and he reviews the entire case, and he doesn't have a huge caseload doing something else entirely. He can probably take 2 to 3 months reasonably to catch up. But if he has a big caseload, if he has a lot of work, he'll take that 6 months. He'll take the 6 months. Now that 6 months will be until the next pre-trial. So in all likelihood, we could be looking at pre-trial in January of 2024. If that's the case, then trial will probably begin because they have to pick a jury. It'll be I think in this case, felony 6 is a 6-man jury. So if they have pretrial in January, there is a possibility that they could start trial as early February next year. Now, why does this work in Tyra's favor? Very simple. 1, he gets more time as a free man, which is exactly what he wants. More time, anything can happen during that time. 2, in addition to more time, he gets a new lawyer. This lawyer doesn't necessarily have to be a personal injury lawyer. This time around, he may get a lawyer who actually knows what he's doing and can more effectively work his case. That increases his chances of winning and or getting more evidence dropped and getting Tyra to walk. Cody was our best chance at ending this quickly. He's a screw up. He's been disciplined, and he had no interest in really representing Tyra. That was our best chance. Whoever this new person is, You never know. You never know. But at any rate, it works out in Tyra's favor because he kind of gets a do-over. Whereas the last guy was a screw up, the next guy might not be. Anyway, I'm going to leave that there so I don't ramble on for too long and take up too much of your time. I'm sure more stuff will happen between now and whenever we get pretrial. So whatever happens between now and then, we'll definitely cover his shenanigans. But don't look for a trial anytime soon. I'm sure Tyra will fill us in on some interesting stuff that happened between him and his past lawyer. But other than that, there probably won't be any additional court updates for quite some time. Let's see what he has to say in the morning. Until then,